What's up people, welcome back to another video, and today we are reviewing this bad boy here. As you can see, we will use our usual spectrum analyzer to check which frequencies are being covered the most, if there is any imbalance, if there is any frequency peaking a bit too much, but especially we will check how deep the bass really is. And let me tell you, the bass is pretty deep. Now, in all honesty, I was looking at its bigger brother, the XV800. But as I have a quite small house, I decided to go for the XV500, which is a little bit smaller, but packs a punch. You won't believe it. You have to listen for yourself. So let's have a little walk around, and then we will have a audio test, and then the final verdict as usual. Let's do it. Now, this speaker does not have a official rating from Sony in terms of RMS power on wattage, but the estimates put it above 55-60 watts RMS, so continuous power, not the 600 watts, claims of cheap brands that at the end of the day is only a peak for a half a second peak in wattage power. So no, I can tell you that it definitely sounds like more than what it's estimated to be rated at, and I can definitely tell you that it looks good. The material is premium. You can see the nice two woofers inside, one and two. And you can see the tweeters here, and there is a little bass reflex port here. Now for this speaker, Sony has its own proprietary technology to make the bass really stand out. And we will have a look at that, of course. We will also have a purely bass, sub-bass test. Now on the top, on the interface, we have the power button, we have the mega bass, and if we hold it, we can put it in stamina mode so that we will have a bit longer playtime on battery. Now, yes, this speaker does have a battery, so it doesn't need to be plugged in. As you can see, it's not plugged in, and I can switch it on. And it's switching on. There you go. It has auxiliary, it has USB input, it has some lights that you can switch on and off, and that you can also change, and that does change with color anyways when you play, while you play the music. But yeah, for this test we will use it cabled in, so I will plug it in the power, just because for me, in my opinion, it's better to have a steady electric current to have it perform its best. I just feel like it might not be true, but it might just be on my mind that on battery maybe you lose a bit of power, just to, because the battery is not as good, obviously, as continuous current from your plug. But yeah, for the test, let's start with the normal test of the usual songs spectrum analyzer, and then we will have the bass test. Now, just to finish up, in the back we have the plug for the standard electricity. We have a button for battery care, so that it will take the charge up to a certain percentage to preserve the battery for the long term. We have some options to plug in microphone and or guitar, and some reverb that we can switch on and off. And yeah, so we can also use it as some kind of guitar amplifier. So we will listen at about 30% of the maximum volume. Now let's switch on the mega bass option. Alright, it's time for our bass test. I can tell you already that the speaker starts really pumping at around 35 to 40 hertz. So anything below the 35 is just a bit of vibration, but it doesn't really go lower than 35, which is already pretty good, you know. I don't know many speakers that can go as low as 35 hertz, so it's pretty impressive. I can tell you the bass of this thing is amazing. Anyways, you listen for yourself. Let's go for the bass test. "22 hertz, 30 hertz, 35, 45, 55, 65, 'I had to lower the volume, 80 hertz, 90 hertz, 95. That's it. So we went from 35-ish when it started really vibrating to all the way to 90, 95 hertz. And yeah, the response is there. And you can hear that on the music test as well. The bass is so deep, it's so nice, which is a bit unexpected from a speaker that doesn't actually have a dedicated subwoofer. In fact, the only one that has of this kind of in fact, the only one that has a dedicated subwoofer starts at about 900 or 1000 euros or dollars, and that's the bigger brother of this speaker, and it's called Sony Tower, I think ULT9, something like that, and they are more than double the size of this. Well, probably, yeah, around double the size of this speaker, which is much more portable. You can take it in you can put it in your car, bring it to the park, bring it to the beach. In fact, it is waterproof rated. However, if you take it to the beach and you throw a lot of sand on it and it breaks, don't sue me, bro. Okay, just know that you can bring it with you. It's supposed to be waterproof, or anyways, the park should be fine. You can easily have a little party in your backyard, have a little barbecue, and have this boy animate the day, you know. Now, final considerations. We have the portability, which is good. The speaker is between 10 and 13 kilos, so it's not impossible to take with you like the bigger ones that are 20, 25, even 30 kilos. The Sony XV500 has a great sound. The mids are good. The highs are clear, they are there. The bass is deep and deeper than what one would expect from a speaker that doesn't have a dedicated subwoofer. So really impressed by that. The sound is present, is powerful. There are options to modify the EQ. In fact, personally, I had to lower a bit the sub bass frequencies with the app, with the dedicated app that Sony has, which is called Music Center, if I'm not wrong. I had to lower a bit the sub bass just because of, you know, the neighbors might be feeling that vibration, you know, when I'm playing the music, especially when it's evening time. And anyways, it's plentiful, you know, even if I lowered it, it's still a very present bass, very, very, very heavy. I would say in some ways is even a bit too much, especially if you switch on the mega bass mode with the button over there. It's kind of a boost that it's nice, but it just feels a bit too much, you know, a bit yeah, too deep, you know, too strong. So I like it, lowering it a bit. Again, the sound is great, amazing. The price point, which is about $299 or 299 euros, is a very good price point when you think about that you would spend the same on a JBL Charge, which is a tiny speaker compared to this. For 300 euros, you can get what's that? The other one, the Sony ULT 7, which is like the kind of portable one, which is still a bit heavy, and it's about the same price. So there is really no comparison. Again, waterproof. You have the lights that you can have, you know, playing with the music. You have the incredible bass. You have the fair portability, and yeah, you have a solid design, solid materials, a good brand like Sony. And I must say, you know, I'm really impressed. You know, Sony did a very good job for a brand that maybe hasn't been doing as good as it used to do. You know, and let's give it a score. I would give it almost a 9. So definitely worth the money. Incredible power for the size, portability. It's just a very good overall speaker. You can even connect it to your TV and watch movies with it, and it's like having a home cinema system because the bass is so good, it's so deep. So that's also something you want to consider. You can the last thing is that you can turn it around like I did for this video. So put it on the side instead of standing tall. So you have that option to have these two modes of usage, and so you can put it under your TV if you want to use it as a home cinema. If you have space, you can put it under your TV, use it as a home cinema, and you'll be perfectly fine. You will not miss a home cinema, home theater system. So anyways, that was my thought of this incredible speaker. I hope you like my review, and thank you very much. See you next time.